Now this item on my honey-do list is long overdue, and my wife Lynn isn't going to stand for one more day on the ceramic tile on our kitchen floors. As for me, well, I really don't mind it so much, and I'm not crazy about what she's got in mind for a replacement. Honey, what are you doing?
I'm cleaning up juice somebody
Come on,
accidentally
come on.
spilled. No,
Oh,
Ron.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
because this floor is so slippery.
I'll get it.
Honestly, we've got to replace this floor. It's not horrible, but I think a wood floor would look so much better.
But wood in the kitchen, I don't like it because it doesn't hold up well to pets, children, and water, all three of which we've got here. Right.
The floors that they have now are really great for kitchens. Look, why don't I do this? You go investigate, I'll get some information. If in fact we find that there's a wood floor that would be appropriate for a kitchen and our kind of use, great. If not, we'll carpet.
Duraluster Plus urethane, 25-year finish.
Lifetime structural warranty.
The manufacturer warrants that the finish will not wear through or separate from the wood for 25 full years.
Well, let's do it.
You got your wood floor.
Bye-bye tile.
Well, now we're going to begin the serious work on this job. I'm going to try to get this old tile up, and I say try because, well, I'm sure I'm going to get it up. I'm just not sure how much work it's going to be. Whew, this is going to be slow going. Well, it's time for plan B. That's certainly not going to work to chip this up. So here's what I'm going to try next. I'm going to take a saw with a diamond tip blade and I'm going to cut through the grout lines between the tile. Because what I discovered over there is the tile is glued on top of a sheet of 1/8" Luan plywood. And if I can cut this into sections, I think I can get up underneath that plywood and actually pry this off in large hunks. The only problem with this method is that it's going to generate a lot of dust, so I've really got to seal up this room, start taping doors up like this one. I've taken a couple of other dust precautions. Got my dust mask on here. Got a fan over here in the window that's going to pull some of this dust out. I've attached a vacuum to my circular saw right here. Now the blade I have on my circular saw is a diamond-tipped blade designed specifically for cutting through stone and masonry. It should have no trouble getting through this grout.
Wow.
See? This is solid oak. It's almost an exact match for what we have in the house. The difference, of course, is the thickness.
Sure.
This new flooring is only 5/16 of an inch, this one 3/4. In our case, in remodeling the kitchen, the thinner floor actually turns out better because it doesn't raise the floor up as much. The transitions into the other room, they're going to be a lot better.
Excellent.
The spaces underneath the countertop, like for the dishwasher, they're not going to be made that much smaller.
Right.
So I think actually this is actually going to be an advantage right here.
Fabulous. I think it's gorgeous.
Well, I've got Lynn's approval, so it's time to get started. And just to make sure I do it right, I've asked for a little help. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Rob.
Come on in. Glad you're here. Thanks for giving me a hand with this.
Sure.
Wood's here.
Good. How long has the wood been in the house?
Well, you told me to bring it in like 3 or 4 days ahead, which I did. John Klepp Edge is a technical consultant for Armstrong Flooring. He explains that the new flooring needs time to acclimate to its surroundings. That means it should have about the same moisture content as the surface it's being installed over. Just to be sure, he checks both with an electronic moisture meter. So the moisture's good. The flooring and the old floor are close enough, right?
All right.
So where do you start in a room like this? What part of the room do you begin in?
We would normally start on the exterior wall.
Why?
Because the exterior wall is the straightest.
Okay, that makes sense. Want to go to work?
Yep, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
To begin, we snap a chalk line about 3 inches from the wall. This gives us a perfectly straight reference for our first row. The half-inch gap left between the floor and the wall will give the flooring room for expansion as humidity changes.
First board's in place. Now we can just go ahead and continue this line down through here.
Yes.
So these ends actually then interlock.
They engage.
Engage,
Down
that's
into
a
the groove.
good word. So that's our second strip right there, right?
And then we're going to need to mark around that pipe so we can cut that out.
I use a combination square to transfer the pipe location to the board. Then cut out the notch with a jigsaw. I cut a strip of flooring to finish out the first row and nail it in place. On the second row, an air conditioning vent is the challenge. I mark the location on a piece of flooring and again use the jigsaw to cut out the shape. Then, more nailing.
Now, while this flooring could be glued down if we were working on concrete, because we've got a plywood subfloor here, we're stapling this in using this special staple gun. It has a base or a foot on here that holds the gun at precisely the right angle, about 45 degrees. It's driving that staple through at the base of the tongue. Let me show you here. See, and it's the angle of the staple as well as the staple itself that's actually holding this flooring in so well. And then, when we assemble the next one, the groove just covers that staple completely and disappears. Now what that means is, like 3/4 inch solid flooring, you have no visible fasteners on the surface. They're all hidden in the joinery.
Several boxes of flooring are dumped out and scrambled together so the grain patterns and colors will be intermixed, like shuffling a deck of cards. With the basics under my belt, I get to work in earnest. Well, my industriousness and attention to detail are paying off. The new floor is beginning to take shape. The pace is quickening now. I am really in the groove. Yep, I'm getting somewhere all right.
Wow. Well, it's been hard work, but I definitely have made some progress here. Right now, though, I'm running into a little bit of a situation. You see, I'm coming up onto this door casing right here. And while it would be possible to cut this around the casing, it wouldn't be a very neat job, and it's a lot of extra work. So instead, I'm going to do something called undercutting. And that involves taking a couple of scrap pieces of material, like this, and actually making a saw cut right around here. You here to put in the floor?
Well,
What is this? More flooring?
I'm sorry, I speak little English.
Little English? Oh, it's not flooring at all. It's lunch. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Now, a guy can't toil on an empty stomach. Well, it's back to work.
Well, that's a long job. I'm getting there though. Just a little bit more to go.
The final touch? Installing strips of quarter-round molding around the edges to conceal that expansion gap. Well, take a look. Not a bad day's work, huh?
Oh my God, you're doing the dishes?
Can you believe it? Huh? I'll do anything to be in this room now. I love these floors.
I know. They look so good. Looks better than I even imagined, really.
You're right. I give you credit.
Wow.
And not only do they look great, they're tough.
They're tough.
They're tough
They're
enough for a
durable.
dance. What do you say?
Oh my God.
Remember the old days? Huh?
Remember,
yeah,
remember the
the
wedding?
oldies.
Here we go, ready?
Oh, yes. I think I'm putting Kyle back. Okay, God. I'm going upstairs now.
Want to dance?